Hey, what's up YouTube? Lightsaber Samurai here, and I'm back for another video. This time I wanted to talk about the information that came out during E3. Microsoft was explaining that they wanted to bring original Xbox games back to the Xbox One via backwards compatibility, which was very exciting for me. I love the original Xbox, have a pretty good stack of games. But when they made the announcement, they did announce that Crimson Skies definitely was coming back. So far though, that was all that we got as far as the list of games that would be backwards compatible. Would they all be backwards compatible? Would it just be select games? So in this video, I made a list of some of the games that I wanted to see the most come back via backwards compatibility. Let's take a look. Okay, and starting off with the first on the list, I figured I'd just get some of the obvious ones out of the way first, and that would be Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic and its sequel, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords. Now, both of these games, well, this one being made by BioWare and The Sith Lords being done by Obsidian, both of them role-playing games that takes place in the Old Republic of the Star Wars lore, several thousand years before the movies. Both games were excellent. I really love the storyline of the first game. It still has one of the greatest plot twists in video gaming history. I'll just leave that spoiler out, although I think the statute of limitations has expired at this point, but if you haven't played it, it is one that you have to see for yourself. The sequel, The Sith Lords, while not quite as engrossing in the story, especially with the ending and things like that is concerned, I think it does expand upon a lot of things, and it did tweak a lot of things as far as the combat was a little bit more streamlined. But overall, like I said, I still give the slight edge to this one. Both games are excellent though, and if you haven't played them before, hopefully you can play them, and explore these on the Xbox One. So definitely those two games. All right. Next here, keeping with BioWare, the next game I want to talk about was Jade Empire. Now, Jade Empire was a game, it got quite a bit of fanfare when it was first released, but since then, of course, across the years, I think the game has been largely forgotten, and this was a fantastic action RPG, again done by BioWare. It takes place in a fictional ancient China, and it brings a lot of the elements that made Knights of the Old Republic good. The storytelling is done very well. It also brings back the power of choice. So in the Knights of the Old Republic, you had, a light side and dark side choice system that based on your actions, you can align your character more towards the dark or the light, kind of like Fable did after, but it's done really well here, and I believe they call it the way of the open palm and the way of the closed fist. But like I said, a lot of actions you take in this can dictate the course of the story and how certain events play out. It's a very long game. Like I said, this one definitely overlooked, and I think this is a game that deserves a little more spotlight, and hopefully we can see that now with backwards compatibility. All right, moving on, and the next game on the list is a conversion or a port from the Dreamcast. Of course, that is Jet Set Radio Future. It's slightly different from Jet Grind Radio that came out on the Dreamcast. They changed from what I understand, they changed the map up a little bit and kind of streamlined a lot of levels, made the game feel more open world. But in this takes place in the fictional city of Tokyo, and there is like an oppressive local government that's kind of taking over the city, and the kids of I can't remember the name of the gang, but they are a gang of rollerblading, graffiti spraying kids, and it's just kind of a lighthearted tone and kind of a lighthearted formula on formulas like Grand Theft Auto. We saw it a bit in San Andreas, where you kind of had the gang wars, you kind of took over areas of the map, and this kind of does the same thing, but you do it through graffiti. It's pretty non-violent for the most part, but it's a definitely awesome title. It's done by Sega Smilebit team, and like I said, definitely one I'd like to see. We did get HD remasters on pretty much all platforms since, but it'd be nice to pop in a physical copy again, and hopefully they'll do that with backwards compatibility. Alrighty, sticking with Sega, and this one was done by AM2. This is Yu Suzuki's team, and the next one up, of course, is Shenmue II. Now, this, of course, is the direct sequel to Shenmue that came out on the Dreamcast. The sequel was brought out on the Dreamcast in, I believe, Japan and PAL territories, but the only way to play the sequel in America is on the original Xbox. And this game, again, expands on a lot of the formula in Shenmue. The game world in this is impressively large. It takes place in Hong Kong, China in the mid-1980s. You play as Ryo Hazuki, and you're tracking down Lan Di, the man that killed your father. And in this, like I said, I believe Grand Theft Auto 3 had came out during the time. This is the time where open world games were starting to blossom. But even then, at the point this came out, this gave you it was an unprecedented level of freedom for the time. Similar to Grand Theft Auto, although it took it in a different direction, where Grand Theft Auto was more you can just attack people on sight if you wanted to and cause chaos if you wanted to. This did it in a lot of different ways. For instance, you can talk to pretty much anybody on the street and get information. Like I remember one of the things, like if I was looking for somewhere to go in the game, I could simply ask for directions, and I mean, they would tell me, you know, go up those stairs and go left at the next street and head down that way, and I did that and would find the place. I thought that was really cool. Of course, you can pretty much walk into any building in this, which was cool. You can walk into places like different pawn shops. You can find things and, you know, pawn items that you find, buy items. You could go to the arcade, which is very cool. And of course, this was done by AM2, which is, I believe, Yu Suzuki's team, if I remember correctly. And on that, I mean, you can go in and play like classic like Hang On and Afterburner, and you know, and they're great arcade ports from the Sega originals, like right here in the game. It also has a different feature where just from the game menu screen, you can just go right on and play those games. Once you find them in the adventure game, you can just go and just, you know, play the arcade games straight up. And so that was very cool. So I would love to see Shenmue 2, and more than that, I would love to see that damn sequel, but that is an argument for another time. So moving on, and next here is Darkwatch. And first of all, did you guys know about this game? I literally just played this game yesterday, and this game is so cool. It's so metal. You take the role of a guy named Jacob Cross. It takes place in the late 1880s, so it's kind of Wild West era, and I believe it starts off he's robbing a train and kind of stumbles on this supernatural battle going on between, you know, good and evil, and he eventually gets bitten by a vampire, kind of becomes like, you know, undead, and he joins this group called the Darkwatch that has been tasked, you know, kind of with, you know, keeping the forces of darkness at bay. And like I said, the game, I mean, it just runs really smooth. The graphics in it are awesome. The first-person shooter action is fast. It's great. They even threw in a bunch of supernatural powers for him. And so I was just highly, highly impressed by this game. You can see there, I got it at a portly $5. And like I said, definitely a hidden gem on the Xbox. That's kind of what I opened it for. Wanted to do a hidden gems video for the original Xbox. Discovered this game and was like, holy cow! Like, I would love to see this via backwards compatibility. And the final title on my list here is Def Jam Fight for New York. Now, this did come out on the original PS2 as well, but this version is also very good too. It's basically like a mashup between a fighting game, a brawler, and a wrestling game, and in it you play as your own character of different modes where you can play as a bunch of rappers and just TV celebrities from the early 2000s. You know, Busta Rhymes is in there, Mac 10. You can play as other characters like Omar Epps. So yeah, just an awesome game. Ludacris, of course, is in there. Redman, Method Man, a couple of members of the Wu-Tang Clan are in there. And like I said, the graphics in that game is really cool. It has kind of a cool cartoony art style. The character models in that, they do resemble their real world counterparts pretty well, but of course, they're kind of muscled up and kind of bulky. And like I said, but the game is incredibly fun. I love playing this game and would love to see it, come back on the Xbox One. So. Okay, and so that's going to do it for this video, but at the end here I wanted to talk a little bit about the Xbox, the original Xbox in general, and just wanted to say that this is the time to collect for the original Xbox. I have quite a few titles. I have about 80 to 90 original Xbox titles right now, and I got most of them, if not all of them, for $10 or less. I could have talked about other titles, I could have talked hours for it, of course, Panzer Dragoon Orta, a lot of different titles like that. Some of my favorite titles like Advent Rising, and I'm kind of looking over here, of course, the Halo games. I didn't mention the Halo games because they've been ported on every system, Xbox that's come out since. They've been digitally remastered twice already, so of course they'll be added on. That was a no-brainer, so that's why I didn't mention that. But there's a lot of other titles like Sudeki, and there's the Fables, which will probably get ported over as well. But just a lot of titles. Right now is the time to collect for the original Xbox, because if this blows up and the demand for these games start to rise, expect to see some of these games jump up sharply in price. So I'm picking up everything now, and I've been picking up things because, like I said, I love the original Xbox anyway. So as of right now, you can still get the games relatively cheap, but who knows how long that will last. With that being said, that's going to do it for this video. Just put down in the comments what are some of the videos or some of the video games that you would like to see brought to the Xbox 5 backwards compatibility. Like I said, I left out, I know, a lot of titles that I personally enjoy, like Advent Rising, like the Utagi series. 13 was an excellent first-person shooter that came out on the system that just kind of got overlooked. So like I said, just leave them down in the comments below. I'm Lightsaber Samurai. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for subscribing. And until next time.